Rob Reiner and his wife were found brutally murdered, and their son is arrested on murder charges for stabbing the two of them in their sleep. It's a horrific tragedy that has shocked the nation, and I wake up to my newsfeed exploding with this post from our president, Donald Trump. A very sad thing has happened last night in Hollywood. Rob Reiner, a tortured and struggling but once very talented movie director and comedy star, has passed away together with his wife, Michelle, reportedly due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome. He is celebrating the murder of Rob Reiner in a way that, hey, if you speak out against me, you deserve to be murdered. He will celebrate your murder. He won't condemn this as an act of violence. And it's just sick. So I'm just going to go through a handful of the numerous people that are calling out this type of vile, disgusting rhetoric from our president. On the right, you can see people saying, we don't celebrate death. The left is the party of violent rhetoric. The left are the ones who incite violence, who celebrate violence, and exactly what you can see here. As you can see, the right doesn't celebrate the death of those on the left, says Joey Salads. Jack Prosobiec says, you won't see people on the right celebrating the horrific murder of Rob Reiner and his wife, compared to the left's reaction on Charlie Kirk. And you have Adam Mockler responding by saying, yeah, the leader of your party just dunks on dead bodies. Keith Nagy says, big day ahead of Republican congressmen pretending they haven't seen the president's posts. Because that's what they do. They just pretend, oh, I haven't seen that yet. And oh, there's going to be some type of excuse made for the president's reasoning. Oh, he was joking. Oh, he wasn't being serious. I've seen posts saying that he should delete it. Delete it? That doesn't change the rhetoric. That doesn't change what he said. They're embarrassed, so they think that he should delete it. That's it. There should be consequences. Max Burns says, I don't want to hear another sanctimonious word from the Republicans who accused Democrats of not showing enough sadness when Charlie Kirk died. Donald Trump's message about Rob and Michelle Reiner's death is a monstrosity. Brooklyn Dad Defiant, one of my favorite Twitter accounts, says that for a few minutes today, I was quietly impressed with the words of sympathy shared by prominent members of the right wing about the murder of Rob Reiner and his wife, Michelle. In my mind, these went a long way towards countering the vitriol from a lot of the smaller, lesser-known anonymous accounts. The same thing happened after the murder of Charlie Kirk. Prominent, large Democratic accounts came out and denounced it, from our presidents and members of Congress down to influencers. It's important to make that distinction because whom do we give weight to? Who represents the sentiment of our parties, the unknown social media accounts or our leaders? For the record, I had zero faith that Trump would be able to control his own worst base instincts. The President of the United States behaves like a common troll. Now, if you want to see how a president should talk, a respected and respectful leader, Barack Obama had posted, Michelle and I are heartbroken by the tragic passing of Rob Reiner and his beloved wife, Michelle. Rob's achievements in film and television gave us some of our most cherished stories on screen. But beneath all of the stories he produced was a deep belief in the goodness of people and a lifelong commitment to putting that belief into action. Together, he and his wife lived lives defined by purpose. They will be remembered for the values they championed and the countless people they inspired. We send our deepest condolences to all who love them. And the top response here is, this is how a president talks. Chris Murphy says he's just lost it. Now saying Rob and Michelle Reiner caused their own murder because they didn't support him. So sick. Kyle Cheney says that Trump is reveling in the apparent homicide of Rob Reiner. To which Seth Abramson agrees. This is the correct framing. He's reveling in it. He's justifying it. He's blaming a murder victim for their murder. He's celebrating violence. This is everything he and his supporters have spent this year claiming only Democrats have ever done. And no MAGA will criticize him for it. The Lincoln Project calling this pure evil. Harry Sisson calling out this rhetoric. Donald Trump is a disturbed, sick, narcissistic, evil sack of shit. Rob Reiner was a better man than he will ever be. Chris Jackson pointing out that the damage that this man has done to the character and soul of this country is almost impossible to measure. And it doesn't end when he's gone. He has poisoned the well, and we're going to be dealing with it for a long time. The account Maine saying that the President of the United States is a piece of shit. Neera Tanden saying we have never had a person of worse character as President of the United States. It's mortifying how this great country chose to do this to itself. Keith Olbermann saying our evil, mentally ill president celebrates the murder of Rob Reiner. He and all who enable him will eventually go to hell. I pity them all. Amy Siskin, there is no bottom, no class, no leadership, no moral compass. The wonderful Jasmine Crockett says that the sitting president of the United States looked at the death of Rob Reiner and decided it was an opportunity to score political points. Let me be very clear. This was a horrific tragedy. Families are mourning. This is not a campaign rally. There is no limit to how low he is willing to go, and that speaks volumes about how dangerously unfit he is to lead. My condolences go out to Rob Reiner's family and loved ones. Alexander Vindman, Trump is one sick fuck. Rob has a legacy to be proud of. You are a stain on civilization. Few will miss. Congressman Thanadar, Donald Trump is mocking the death of a man who was just brutally murdered in his sleep with his wife. Not some random TikTok kids, not a podcaster, the President of the United States. Patrick Schwarzenegger, what a disgusting and vile statement. Hassan Abi, what can you even say at this point? We've used all the words vile, disgusting, insane, intolerable, narcissistic, toxic, vile rhetoric. We've used it. We've used it to describe Trump. We've used it to describe his rhetoric. At some point, what can you even say? Marco Foster, Donald Trump is the biggest piece of shit on this planet. Rick Wilson says, when the Grim Reaper takes Trump, I promise you, my better angels will be on vacation. Sam Stein says, about as low as you can go, hear from the president. Maria Shriver posted and said, I try to rise above the noise all the time, but this individual has no human decency. This goes beyond. It's absolutely disgusting. We should all be horrified and disgusted by this inhumane behavior because that's what it is. Rob and Michael Reiner were good, kind, loving people. They were good human beings and good friends to me and to countless others. Their family is in deep, unimaginable pain. What kind of human being would share a statement like this, much less a president? Rob and Michelle would tell me to just ignore him, but I can't. I just can't. And I hope you don't either. They deserve so much better, as does their family. Tim Miller says, live your life in such a way that America's worst president sends a deranged and disgusting post about you when you die. Midas Touch calls it out, says this goes way beyond politics. This is pure evil. Brian Tyler Cohen, responding to Jack Prosobiec's, you won't find people on the right celebrating this horrific murder. He says, this the leader of your party? This is what you were looking for? This wasn't going to happen? This is exactly who Donald Trump is. Sam posts, we found the worst man on earth and made him the most powerful person in the world. Twice. The Democrats. We lost Rob and Michelle Reiner less than 24 hours ago. This is how Trump responded. Heartless. Tom Massey had posted, regardless of how you felt about Rob Reiner, this is inappropriate and disrespectful discourse about a man who was just brutally murdered. I guess my elected GOP colleagues, the VP, and the White House staff will just ignore it because they're afraid? I challenge anyone to defend it. Ted Lieu, thank you for your humanity. I want you to know the White House isn't ignoring Trump's post about Rob Reiner and Michelle. The official White House rapid response account amplified Trump's post. Joe Walsh This country knowingly put evil in the White House. This great, good, decent country knowingly put someone who is evil in power. Americans knowingly voted for an evil monster. And so, to remind you once more, this Trump era has never been about Trump. It has always been about us as a people. Russell Moore states, how this vile, disgusting, and immoral behavior has become normalized in the United States is something our descendants will study in school, to the shame of our generation. Aaron Rupar calls this out. This is one of the most psychotic things Trump has ever posted. Ron Filipkowski says that this is both disgusting and expected. The scumbag in chief. Adam Kinzinger says the most classless human on the planet, ladies and gentlemen. Brad Krasenstein. This is the most disgusting post Donald Trump has ever made. He claims that Rob Reiner was killed due to the anger he caused others through his massive, unyielding, and incurable affliction with a mind-crippling disease known as Trump derangement syndrome. Imagine if I said this about Charlie Kirk. Gavin Newsom calls it out in simplistic form. This is a sick man. The Canada Hates Trump account. Donald Trump isn't just the worst president ever, he's the worst American in history. He's a malignant narcissist, a sociopath, and a sadist who's incapable of feeling empathy and cannot fake humanity. Attacking the dead is who he is. There is no cure for this level of evil. John Collins calls this out as such a messed up statement. And then we get into a couple other posts that I would like to highlight. In this call to activism, I would like to say fuck you to the following people in advance for your defense of this bullshit in the next day or so, because we know they are going to defend it. Carolyn Levitt, Scott Jennings, Mike Johnson, who's going to say that, oh, I didn't read the post. I don't know much about that. You are all complicit pieces of shit cowards. Marjorie Taylor Greene says that Rob Reiner and his wife were tragically killed at the hands of their own son, who reportedly had drug addiction and other issues, and their remaining children are left in serious mourning and heartbreak. This is a family tragedy, not about politics or political enemies. Many families deal with a family member with drug addiction and mental health issues. It's incredibly difficult and should be met with empathy, especially when it ends in murder. Jon Favreau hits the nail on the head. Is it all that surprising, though? Trump's 3 basic reactions to death. 1, people with different politics. Their fault for not liking Trump. 2, people with unclear politics. Oh well, bad things happen. What a shame. Probably in relation to the Brown University response that Trump had. 3, people with his politics. What a tragedy. This is why the left is evil. Joe states, I want every single solitary Republican in every elected office in every corner of this country to be asked about Donald Trump's post about Rob Reiner. They like to cloak themselves in religion. Then read it to them. Don't let them say, didn't see it. Let them defend it. Rick Wilson states, remember when people were canceled for not expressing the proper official emotions of grief for Charlie Kirk? Yeah, me too. In related news, Trump's grave will reek of ammonia for all eternity. So you remember the response to people talking about Charlie Kirk's death online and how there was outrage that they weren't expressing the proper emotions, that someone that spewed hate was killed. Now, the killing, the murder, absolutely should not happen. That doesn't belong in our politics. But the response to it was the problem that people got canceled. They got fired from their jobs, which brings me to my next post. Matt posts, so will Trump be losing his job for celebrating the murder of someone with whom he disagreed? Let's see if the right comes out for this. Let's see if the same people don't show their hypocrisy when it comes to people on their side, that they call for people to be fired from their jobs, but okay, it's someone on our side, we're going to defend it, especially if it's the president of the United States. So I want to leave you with this. The people affected by Rob Reiner and some statements from Rob Reiner himself that he has made. for the betterment of humanity and for the betterment of people. Stephen King, someone that worked with Rob Reiner, said that he is horrified and saddened by the death of Rob Reiner and Michelle. Wonderful friend, political ally, and brilliant filmmaker, including two of Stephen King's. Rest in peace, Rob. You always stood by me. So are we supposed to just stand by and be silent in the face of corruption, in the face of evil? Absolutely not. At a time when silence was easier, Rob Reiner chose clarity. His words stood for democracy, truth, and accountability without apology. Rest in peace. With some quotes from Rob Reiner, if Donald Trump was innocent, he would not be obstructing justice. The Republican Party is no longer a political party, it's a criminal enterprise. Trump supporters don't want truth. They want their lie validated. Donald Trump is a traitor to the United States. I've said these things. Should I die? I've seen other people say these things. Should they die? And relating it to the Charlie Kirk murder. This is what Rob Reiner had to say. Words of peace, words of empathy, words of sadness.
When you first heard about the murder of Charlie Kirk, what was your immediate gut reaction to it?
Well, horror, absolute horror. And I unfortunately saw the video of it, and it's beyond belief what happened to him, and that should never happen to anybody. I don't care what your political beliefs are. That's not acceptable. That's not a solution to solving problems. And I felt like what his wife said at the service, that the memorial they had, was exactly right. And totally, I believe, I'm Jewish, but I believe in the teachings of Jesus, and I believe in doing to others, and I believe in forgiveness. And what she said to me was beautiful, and absolutely, when she forgave his assassin. And I think that is admirable.
And lastly, I'm going to leave you with this, the words of Rob Reiner. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.
It's going to take a long time to rebuild the shining city on the hill, the beacon to the rest of the world. You go to outside of our country, and I've been out in the UK and other places. They don't know what the hell's happening in America. They don't understand what's happening. This used to be the place that welcomed immigrants, that welcomed people, and it was our strength. The diversity was our strength. And now it's looked upon as if people are being thrown out of the country without due process. It's nightmarish what's happening in America, and hopefully people will be able to see that. Unfortunately, voters, they only feel when it hits them personally in the pocketbook. But when they feel that, which they're going to start to feel, and they also feel their rights being taken away, it may start to change things. But hopefully, it's not too late. It's as bad as anything could be in this country at this point.